There's a Dutch reporter who went to go cover a small protest. And basically, it's one of those loan companies that owes people money. Yeah. This happens all over China. Sure. And a lot of people have taken out loans. They can't pay them back, or they've put money into these shadow banks and stuff, but they can't take the money out because everyone's stealing the money and running and stuff. Okay, it happens little pockets here and there. So let's see what happens when he goes to try and film the protesters to ask them what's going on. Yeah, so they're saying Sichuan Trust, geef ons geld terug, which just means give us our money back. Yeah. In Dutch, similar to Afrikaans. So Sichuan Trust, give us our money back. There's a little group of people that are protesting because, the Sichuan Trust stole their money. Yeah. This happens all the time, right? So he just wants to go and film them. He's, so he's legally allowed to be there. He's a journalist and all that.
Hey, come on. Hey.
Like, what are you doing?
Hey. Hey, come on.
Okay, so what happened here is you had plainclothes police and actual police basically manhandle him, push him to the ground, take his microphone, take his bag, take his gear, and, force him away.
This is what happens.
Yeah. This is why you don't hear bad news coming out of China, because you're not allowed to film it, you're not allowed to spread it, you're not allowed to tell anyone about it. That's why everyone thinks China's some kind of a utopia.
Yeah.
And America just is full of drug addicts because they just show that.
That's all you see.
They show Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia, and then they'll be like, look at China. There's nothing on the streets here. That's because you can't film it. Anyway, so they shoved them in the back of a car, and they confiscated their phones. They confiscated their camera and all that kind of stuff, too.
Ja, je merkt het, de spanning is enorm. Worden alle kanten opgeduwd.
It's like they're pushing us around. Oh, look at what they did. Can you explain what's going on here?
So this is what happened during the Shanghai protests when people started rebelling against the government. What they would do is the police learned and bragged about, weirdly enough, putting up a black sheet to block protesters. Instead of doing anything against violent protests or something like this, they would have a demo where a guy would hold up a white piece of paper and then they'd block it off. Yeah. With four of these curtains, and then a policeman would come in and disappear the guy. It's like a magic trick. So they're doing that with umbrellas here.
Yeah, so the whole thing is just to block it, like nothing to see here.
It's physical censorship.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like, that bridge that collapsed and then they put all those barriers up so you couldn't see it. Yes. So they, put all these umbrellas up so nobody could see what was going on with these reporters. Yeah, so the woman's saying, oh, the foreigner's been taken away. Like, don't film. Just give me that phone or whatever.
Ja, het is nu een paar uur geleden sinds we weer vrij zijn gekomen.
Okay, so he's like, okay, it's been a few hours and we're back where this incident happened. Sorry if I'm getting a bit of the translation wrong. I don't speak Dutch, I speak Afrikaans. It's quite kind of similar.
Naar de grond gewerkt hier op deze plek.
He's like, right here on the ground is where it happened.
Geleden, 2 uur vastgezeten, telefoons afge...
And 2 hours, they were detained for 2 hours. Their telephones were taken away, and also the camera, ook die camera, werd ingenomen. So yeah, they took the camera as well.
Ook de camera werd ingenomen. Het ligt extreem gevoelig hier.
And you can see it's still very serious. Look at, they're still trying to block him.
Zie je nu ook weer, het is inpakken en wegwezen. Ja, en de demonstranten, die zijn al lang weer naar huis gestuurd door de politie.
And he says you can see the protesters have already been forced to go home by the police.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what he has to say.
Oké, laat maar gaan.
It's like, okay, let's go. So, yeah, guys, that's really just in a nutshell what happens when there's bad news in China. But on March 7th, some netizens photographed thick smoke rising from the Jiangsu Provincial Public Security Department building. Many netizens posted videos and pictures on the internet. However, the videos and pictures were soon cleared, and topics related to the Jiangsu Provincial Public Security Department is on fire were banned.
Are you surprised?
No. So, I mean, again, here we have something happen, and look, this is kind of common.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk about how these incidents happen.
The cover-ups?
No, I mean the Public Security Bureau incidents.
Oh, so the Public Security Bureau is basically in charge of watching all the citizens, and people get disenchanted with them because that's where you're supposed to kind of bring your complaints and your problems with the city and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
With the government, that kind of stuff. So they, people get disgruntled, whether it's a property problem or it's a loan problem or it's some sort of, factory that has chemicals that are giving everyone cancer in the village problem. So they take it out on the Public Security Bureaus because that's the government office, right?
Yeah, you often get disgruntled. People will go and use improvised explosives or set fire to these buildings. And there's been a couple of these in the last week, actually, where, government buildings have caught fire. This is not the only one. I didn't have enough time to put together a list of all the other ones. But just to let you know that you didn't hear about this. But just imagine because a Public Security Bureau is probably equivalent to, let's say, a major police station, would you say?
Yes.
Kind of like a head police station, if there's such a thing.
For sure.
Now, imagine if, I don't know, the New York NYPD, the biggest precinct police station, went on fire.
Yeah.
I think everybody would know about it.
Yeah, it would be big news.
Right?
Yeah.
So I want to compare apples to apples here, right?
Right.
So if the New York PD precinct, whatever, massive, the big main police station caught fire, it would be international news. Everybody would know it happened. But in China, a Public Security Bureau, the main big one in Jiangsu, it catches fire and it's suppressed.
Yep.
You don't know about it.
Nope.
Chinese people don't know about it. They cannot discuss it when they try to search it.
Nope.
It returns no results. They can't even search the building anymore. It doesn't return results, right? And that's just to show you how this propaganda war works.
Yeah.
And how China can very easily kind of have this narrative that China's got no issues and no problems, that they can force feed not only their own citizens, but the world. And at the same time, any bad news that is in America gets broadcast so widely and so massively that they can use that to show their citizens and the rest of the world, look how bad America is.
It's true.
But look how good China is.
That's true.
Don't fall for it, guys. It's all a bunch of nonsense. Yeah, anyway. So there you can see the search results are not returning anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine that. Imagine you try to search New York Police Precinct fire and it says, like, there are 0 results for your search. Like 0.
None. You're not allowed to search this.
No, you can't search it. That's what's happening in China. Imagine the amount of flies that end up in these freaking bowls of dumplings. It's gross.
Fly dumplings.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Taking on all the bees.
Why did he film himself?
I know.
Doesn't he sound like a little boy? Yeah.
Like a 4-year-old. Figured out why she was so popular in China. So actually,
Because of the pollution in there video. You see, I never get this far.
but you do in China. It's cheesy. It's lame.
Yes, there we go. This is such a vibe from that time.
That is such a vibe.
Yeah, it is a nice prop. He's got a guitar. He's not using it. And I can't hear a guitar.
There's no guitar in this.
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs.